Hey guys, so I know that we did a virtual lab on hydrates, but I wanted you to see the actual lab being carried out because this is one of those AP labs that AP says that you need to do. All right, so you did it virtually. We're going to give you a video for you to watch to see how it actually works. And I will be providing you with some actual student data that you will complete and figure out what they got in terms of their value for N for the hydrate. We are going to be using magnesium sulfate. So first I'm going to pull my hair back, right, for good safety. And I'm going to put on my goggles. All right. So your directions tell you to mass an evaporating dish and record its exact value. All right, so here we go. I'm going to move my screen down so we can see. All right, so what is the exact value? There's my exact value of my evaporating dish. Step 2, it tells us to measure out about 7 grams of the hydrate. So I'm going to go ahead and zero this out in order to give me what my hydrate is. All right, so here we go. Okay, so there we go. That is about 7 grams, 6.98. All right, so when you're measuring, you're not going to write down 7 because you didn't have 7 grams. You have 6.98 grams. So it asks us for the mass of the evaporating dish and hydrate. So I'm going to pull this off, zero out, and there we go. There is my mass of the hydrate with the evaporating dish. All right, now it tells me to heat the sample for approximately 5 minutes. So I've turned on my hot plate. Now safety, this is hot. That's why it's called a hot plate, so don't touch it. I'm going to move my evaporating dish over and I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. And I'm going to hit pause here so that you guys don't have to sit there and watch me for 5 minutes heating this. Okay, so I've turned it back on during the heating process so that you can try and observe and see what you may see. Notice, what do you see happening in here? I'm seeing some bubbles. And I'm also seeing some steam. So chances are, while I'm heating this, what are these bubbles and steam? What is that I am seeing? What part of the hydrate? Okay, so 5 minutes has gone by. My next direction tells me to cool the substance. So I have these little hot hands, all right, because this is obviously hot. I don't want to touch it. So I'm going to pull it off. And I'm going to just place it onto the lab station and I'm going to let it completely cool down and then we're going to get a mass. Okay, so I have completely cooled, so I'm going to put it down and take a mass. Now, my directions tell me to heat it again. So before I heat it again, I'm going to use my stir rod and kind of see if I can't try and break this apart a little bit, all right, because by breaking it apart, we are going to basically be increasing surface area, and by increasing surface area, we are going to be allowing more heat to get to those particles, and therefore more water to be able to be evaporated out in the heating process. Now, I want to be careful not to lose any sample as I'm trying to do a bit of stirring here, okay, because sample loss is ultimately going to affect our overall final results. So here we go. I'm going to now heat this again for another 5 minutes. Okay, so we've now been heating for approximately 5 minutes, so I'm going to turn off and I'm going to again remove my sample from the hot plate and we're going to let it completely cool down. This is the second heating, so this is going to be the second cooling. Okay, so I have my cooled sample. So here's my mass after the second heating. And again, I'm going to use my stir rod and try and break this up a little bit here and whatnot, again, to increase surface area so that we can get the most water out possible. Again, trying to be careful not to lose sample. And I think that's probably about as good as this is going to get. All right, so we're going to do our final heating for 5 minutes. Okay, so what I've done is I've heated this for the third time and I have already let it cool. So here is our final mass after the third heating. All right, so this was the Hydrate lab, so you could kind of see the process, see how we did it. All right, that way if it appears on the AP exam, you have at least seen the actual lab. You've done it virtually. Now, remember, the data from this lab, this is not the data that you're going to turn into me. You are going to be provided student data that I give you, and you are going to use the data I give you, not the data from this lab. The sole purpose of this lab was for you to get a visual of how it is actually performed. All right, so look on Canvas and get that data and use that, not this data that you saw on the video for clarification.